What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. I'm your coach and host, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm in the house.
And we got a banger for you today, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. Great news is my voice is back. We're feeling energized and excited for an incredible episode, and we're going to kick it off with our primary question, which we get asked quite a lot, and we haven't touched on in quite a while, so I'm really excited to dive into this one. So our first question is, what are the best ways for me to actually grow my glutes? No matter what I do, I seem to just have a flat butt and I can improve whether I try bulking, cutting, any exercises. What do you do for your clients to get them such great results? So that's an amazing question. And actually we've had some really great examples of that. I'm sure that's where this question stemmed. So we posted Taylor fairly recently, who not only lost 100 pounds, but in the photos, you can see her waist got really tight. She was able to really grow her glutes. Gracia as well as another great example of this among dozens and dozens of others, but these are just some we recently shared. And when people often say this, especially the ladies out there, it's very common to want to like tighten that waist, grow your glutes, build that shape to your physique. And it's a very common goal, and it's understandably a very common goal. And what I think is very tough about glute training is you get a lot of mixed advice and you get a lot of bro-y advice, or I guess you could say girly advice. And what's hard, you need to understand, is a lot of genetics will come into play here. Naturally, some people store more fat on their butt. That's actually where you want to be storing fat, is in your butt and your legs, a healthier place than actually storing it in your abdominal area. If you have wider hips, you're naturally going to have more of a ability to have bigger glutes right at the get-go. And with glutes, obviously, as you put on more muscle and you have a good bit of fat and you have a higher base of fat, your glutes will look better and fuller. And you'll notice, like, when women get really lean and compete for shows, their glutes shrink quite a lot. And that's a natural effect of you storing less fat on your glutes. So there's a lot at play here. And with that too, there's a lot of influencer bias, right? So I've heard all different things, like if you want glutes, train them every day. And I've heard this from people that have good glutes, have amazing physiques. I've heard that banded pumps were the game changer to get people amazing, phenomenal glutes. I've heard some specific exercise is the secret to it. I've heard all these different things. And it's even funny, I remember one time at the gym, there's this girl I was speaking to, and she's got like over 1 million followers. Pretty sure she has a BBL as well. It's like one of those borderline ones. But I was like, hey, out of curiosity, like, what's your split? And it was funny. It was like Monday is glutes and shoulders. Tuesday is back and glutes. Wednesday is like, it was always glutes, which is hilarious, right? And what's hard too is like you see this person and you're like, oh my gosh, like if that's what you're trying to do, like tiny little waist, like put your hand around it, massive glutes, right? It has this look. And she's giving you advice. The natural human tendency is to say, I'm going to listen to whatever this person says. But behind the curtain of that, what's really tough is, like, if I'm telling you banded works the best, and then I conveniently have my bands, Fit, Healthy, Happy bands that you can buy and use, there's like, that's me kind of using a mean to an end. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, I'm out there doing all the right things, putting my energy in the right places. That's where there's such a divide here. So don't just like fall to the trap of someone having good physique if it doesn't make sense or it doesn't add up. And the phenomenal news is growing glutes is like easy. It's like any other muscle. Any other muscle will grow from actually receiving stress and strain, recovering, and moving forward. Now, there are caveats with this, and like when I get a client who has a goal specifically of glutes, one big thing as well is like to grow a muscle, you actually need to engage it and work it. And this is where soreness can be a good exercise. Like if you're always trying to train your glutes and you just find your hamstrings and back are always sore, there's a chance you don't know how to hinge, you don't know how to actually squeeze and engage your glutes properly. You're overutilizing your back or momentum from your back to actually take place of that weight from the glute. Maybe you're sitting all day, you have a lot of anterior pelvic tilt and you're not able to engage it properly. Like for most people, I find this is over dramatic and people will get so woo-woo about the engagement and all these different things, but it is important you know how to do it. And obviously performing exercises correctly makes it easier to actually activate and engage a glute. So when I get a client in, I'll always start with programming, because just like any other muscle, if we want to grow it, we can increase frequency. So if we're only training them once a week, you can try twice a week. If you're doing twice a week, I actually have a lot of my clients who are females who want to grow their legs and build that shape, we'll actually do legs 3 times a week. So we'll actually just put more emphasis on that because that's what we want to grow. And maybe we'll de-emphasize some other things. Like a lot of women want to just have nice arms. They don't want to have bulging arms, right? So I'll put more emphasis into leg training and glutes, but you'll notice I'm not doing it daily because once again, this proven, science doesn't back that. It needs time to heal. Rest is actually good. So even when you're seeing these people, maybe they built out crazy glutes and they go from there, it's tempting to kind of listen to that. But what's so nice, like when you go to the equation of men as well, I think a great example, you'll notice a lot of men will have massive glutes. They'll have really big glutes. I'm sure there's some dude in your gym who's got big glutes. We have a buddy, Jeremy, everyone talks to him about his cake, which is hilarious. He's got massive glutes. He does no banded work. He's doing no sissy squat pulses for 100 reps. He's doing heavy squats. He's doing glute pull throughs. He's doing the bread and butter of what works like anything else. And of course you can further isolate down within your movement and your phasing, but you'll notice by actually like just training hard, sticking to fundamentals, eating enough protein, like those kind of umbrella fixes will actually cause you to develop your glutes. If you're misapplying effort and you're channeling all your effort into these little whatever distractions, if you will, and you're doing 30-minute glute activation warm-ups and you're taking yourself away from training them hard and with intention, you're not going to develop glutes, especially if you can't even engage your glutes. So that's where when I have a client where this is their goal, like most of this will be solved with this will mostly be solved with my programming, right? Because we're going to increase frequency, we're going to periodize it, we're going to do accompanying and varying movements to create that in. So for instance, a glute pull through mirrors actually like a hip thrust on a machine. One you might feel better, one you might be able to do more load, one you might be able to isolate with a slower negative. They both have their place, and that's where like you also need to understand like what you feel the best in your glutes, what you're actually engaging properly. And in theory, you should be able to feel everything perfect if you're executing it perfectly, but that's something that comes with time and practice. And you'll notice you'll make small changes, like you'll angle your feet and you'll say, okay, I'm activating my glutes a little bit better here, or you'll really work down that stretch, or you'll say, you know what, calves, hip thrusts work better for me because that partial rep, I'm able to keep tension that whole time. And when I do that full range of motion, I heave into my back. So you can see it gets a smidgen technical, and it can be technical, and you can get into the semantics of which exercise is best, how much like bulk, compound movement you should do versus isolation. But ultimately, with glute development, like just prioritizing increasing volume, balancing nutrition, like naturally you'll see the best glute growth if you're in a surplus. Naturally, the downside with that is you may put on more fat. If you're in maintenance, you can still see growth. You can still see some growth in a deficit. But as I had mentioned with glutes, if you're cutting hard, your glutes are going to pay for it. Like anything else, you're going to hold a lot of fat naturally in your glutes. And as you lose more of that, yes, you'll have less fat, but like glutes in general store fat. That's where like there isn't too many people with a purely muscular butt. And it's interesting, if you actually search like men's bodybuilding glutes or whatever, it's interesting because they wear those same kind of like whatever they are, bikini things, and you'll see striations on their glutes, which are the muscle heads, and they look like they're feathering, and it's a very interesting look. And I think most people would argue that isn't what they want. So that's where you need to like be aware of what levers you're pulling, because I could get massive glutes bulking like a madman, but I'm going to put on a ton of fat. That might not support your goals if you want a tighter waist, right? If you want a massive butt, you might want to go through a bit more of a bulk and then pull down for a cut. I think for most people, if you just want to see development, you want nice, rounded, healthy looking glutes, and you want to have a tight waist, you can achieve that at maintenance. You can achieve that in a tiny deficit with obviously more intelligent programming and more balance. But you can see how there's a lot of different levers at play. But the main thing is you're avoiding the nonsense. You're actually working them like another muscle. You're improving your weights over time. You're periodizing it. You're utilizing different exercises, and you're training intelligently. And you're also doing other things. Like when I squat the most and I compete powerlifting, I notice my glutes get the biggest, right? Because I'm kind of forcing that. There's no hiding when you're squatting 500 pounds. When I hip thrust, I could stop a rep shy. I could speed up the tempo of it. So that's where you do want to mix in like the bulk compound movements with the isometric movements, but the balance between the two and avoiding that nonsense. And it's not to say none of that other stuff has no purpose, because activating your glutes I do believe in, especially if you're someone who struggles to contract them and engage them, and you find your back's taking over, your hamstrings are taking over, whatever it may be. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing a really slow intentional activation. I really like glute focused hyperextensions. I find that's a phenomenal way to actually activate them. And like if I were really just training a girl or a guy, whoever, to get like the most massive glutes ever, I would do that. I'd emphasize them earlier in the workout. I'd build a lot of the workout around that. And that's where it's cool. You can build a physique, obviously, through more intelligent programming. And this is something we specialize in. And like from those transformations, and you can see Gracia Taylor here on the screen, that took a lot of phasing and a lot of different times and opportunities, and you'll notice there'll be bulks and cuts, and it's not just like overnight it happens. So everyone's so different. That's where I struggled to give like one set answer. If I had an avatar, it'd be easier for me to just say exactly what to do. But we've done this now with hundreds and thousands of people amongst different goals, and some people want glutes, some people want biceps, some people want chest, back, whatever. You can program to what you want, and you can make that work. And obviously nutrition will support that, recovery will support that, but this is what we specialize in. So if you want to tighten your waist, grow your glutes, we can absolutely help you out with that. And we're doing a little promo for that, like a little case study, if you will. So if this fits you and you've been feeling stuck and you're not seeing growth and you're not seeing the glutes you want to see, I promise you, we'll blow you away what we can do in 90 days alone. So just DM us glute gains to us on Instagram, COLOSSUSFIT, and we'll help you grow those glutes no matter what your goal is. If you want the world's biggest butt there's ever been, or if you just want a little more development there while tightening up and getting leaner, we can absolutely support you with that.
Yeah, we're looking to do a nice little case study to show you what's possible, to use some different transformations for the future. And yeah, it's obviously a paid program, but once again, having that level of customization makes such a big difference. I see a lot of people who just think, oh, I know hip thrusts. Everyone says hip thrusts are the best, and they're like, oh, this will solve my problem, but it really doesn't. Like, I even think of so many of my clients where I have to take a deeper look at their actual programming. And even recently I was having some discussions with some of them who we just had to find an exercise that worked for them, because one of them wasn't feeling it in a specific thing, no matter what we tried, whether we'd point the toes out, whether we'd add a band, like it just wasn't working. So that's where I'm able to come in and say, hey, listen, let's swap this out. We're going to focus on this new exercise. We're going to, focus on the different periodization, the different volume, the different frequency, all those things that Josh mentioned. Like, this alone is what really makes a big difference. And it kind of reminds me when some people ask, like, hey, how do I get abs? They're thinking we're just going to sit there and say, all right, here are the 6 exercises, but it's always a layer deeper than that, right? And no matter what, like whether someone wants to grow their shoulders, like there's so much more than just like, hey, go do lateral raises. Like, that's not it. We need to talk volume. We need to talk frequency. We need to talk the nutrition side of things, which Josh mentioned. Like, there's so much more to it. And for us, it's simple, right? Like, we specialize in it. We've helped thousands of amazing people achieve their dream physique. And it's always us taking a deeper look, like being able to take a step back and see, okay, what step is going to be the next step? And even as Josh mentioned, for some of these people, the different phasing makes such a big difference, right? So some of these amazing glute transformations will focus on different things at a time, where it's like, hey, for the next 90 days, this will be the focus and everything will be surrounded around that. So I think that's why most people don't see results, because they are so quick to look for that special exercise or that special one thing that's going to make a big difference. And the last thing I'll leave you with on this is, when you are doing it, you need to be pushing yourself. The amount of times I see someone say, you know what, I may have a good program, but they leave like 7 reps left in the tank. Like a good, let's say, glute bridge or a hip thrust, let's say that's the movement, one of the ones that you have in your program. If you're leaving like 8 reps left in the tank, you're not shaking at the end, there's like no eccentric and control on the way down, you're just leaving so much left in the tank. And I know a lot of times it's uncomfortable for people, and I find, having trained thousands of women, when I do see that, a lot of people are just like going through the motions, they're like not really squeezing, and they're wondering why they're not seeing change. So really, when you're doing these movements, challenge yourself, get uncomfortable, once again, a little bit of a shake at the end, a little bit of a weird face, like it's a good sign that you're doing some of these movements right, as long as you're feeling it. So I thought that was a great answer from Josh, and I'm really glad that this question was answered. Once again, glute gains to Instagram at COLOSSUSFIT, COLOSSUSFIT.
Yeah, and once again, immediate changes you can make are obviously increased frequency, increased intention, isolation, and then more protein. Like any other muscle, especially if you aren't getting to like a gram a day, you're leaving a lot of gains on the table. You'll actually notice you can improve quite a lot from that. So that is a big one. And sometimes you need to like undo some changes. Like I said, sitting, postural issues, like the more you can work towards those things, and it's not like you do crazy rehab, even starting to do motions through full range of motion as well. Like some people, if you're half squat squatting, right, you're really limiting the actual engagement you can get from your glutes. The negatives are a phenomenal way to really build them. We're actually uploading a glute pull-through video today with Coach Lauren, and one of her great points that I love was having soft knees and letting the weight pull you back through your glutes, because that negative, actually, that stretch is where you rip a lot of those muscle fibers and they have the opportunity to grow. So there's a ton that goes into it, and there's a ton of really good exercises. Like there's quite a few cool things you can do, and I think they all have places, but I guarantee you I could build a great set of glutes with 3 very odd off-center exercises, just doing them well. And obviously it comes down to what you're comfortable with, because there's a big physical toll doing heavy squats, or maybe you have bad knees, or maybe you're not great with a full squat. So there are a lot of unique substitutions and solutions you can make, and you could grow great glutes just from isolation as well. The downside with this really high rep stuff, you can build muscle with 2 reps, you could build muscle with 60 reps. It's very hard at 60 reps for me to gauge if I'm at close to my level of failure, because with 60, I could be 20 reps away. I also, the boredom factor, 2 reps, like, if you can't do a third, like, there is no hiding there. So those are all our top tips. Once again, if you want guaranteed glute growth while losing fat and just improving your physique, I will help you with that. I've done this many, many a times. And I'll make it work for your situation too, your history. No matter what, I will be there to support you. But now we're going to jump into our quotes, and I'm going to start with mine, because something that has really been on my mind lately, and that is, busy is never a valid excuse. Either you care enough to make the time or you don't. And this has been on my mind time and time again, because I think one of the lamest excuses, if someone doesn't reach out with you, or they ghost you when they're supposed to meet up with you and they go, sorry, I've been so busy. To me, it's not a priority. And I've done it too. I've made that mistake, and I think I've even said that lie to myself, like, oh, I'm too busy to get to bed on time or something, let's say. All that's saying to me is this isn't a priority. Me doing whatever else I'm doing is more of a priority. And people will use busyness as like this like, I don't know, this crown they can use to kind of put off doing other things. And like, to me, one of the worst things is like when someone says that to a friend or something, they're like, oh, like, I think there's nothing wrong with me. Like, if Kyle said, hey man, how things been? I'm like, man, I've been so busy. I've been slammed. It's one of those times a year. There's nothing wrong with being busy. But I think like a good example, and what got my mind thinking, is we asked a friend, hey, have you been in the gym? We were trying to encourage him, and he said, I've just been too busy. I can't do it. And like, right away, you just know that's not a priority, because absolutely there's times you could get in there, you could get it done. If you're too busy to see your friends, or you don't reach out, you're just saying they're not a priority. These other tasks are. And of course life exists. Of course you're busy, but reality, what we prioritize will do. And I think no matter how busy you are, I always like the example of value. If your favorite person, Kyle's a big Taylor Swift fan, if he could get tickets, he would go there immediately. I don't think he actually is, but case in point, I know there's a lot of people that would say they're too busy, got too much going on for a concert or some crazy thing like that. Or if Kyle said, hey man, I got Bills tickets tomorrow or something, like, I find a way, right? Because it's all value based. So even for you, like, don't lie to yourself and say you're too busy to do the things you know you need to do. And it's easy to use that as an excuse to like put off the things that you know will actually help you and make you feel better. And that's why for me, like, I try to never be too busy for my family, too busy for the gym, too busy to get to bed on time. Like, of course there are things where these things get disrupted, or phases that come up. But yeah, like, don't use it as an excuse. Make the time, make the care, and be honest with yourself too. Like, if it's not a priority, you got to say it's a priority. And I can't remember who it was, but someone said it was actually Alex Hormozy on a podcast. He said someone at his work, he was talking to them, and he was saying, hey man, like, you want to come to the gym with us or something? The guy said, I don't have time to go to the gym. I'm too busy. And then he had said, this guy was in his 20s, and he said, okay, well, I can assure you it's the easiest time right now before you have family, before you have kids, before you advance in your career. So instead, just say the gym isn't a priority and I don't care to be fit for the rest of my life. Like, if you can say that to yourself, it's fine, own it. But the guy's like, okay, shoot, you're right. And he started going to the gym, because that is a reality, and you need to be honest with yourself. And I've been there many times. There's definitely busy phases of life, but I assure you it never really dies down. And it's all just like they say, a different level, a different devil, because like, I felt slammed in high school. I thought it was crazy. I didn't know how I could do it. I had sports, I had these things. Then you go to uni, and then you have kids, and then whatever else knows pops up. Like, that's just life. So that's where we really focus on sustainability, doing things long term, navigating with the situation it is. And I think there's nothing wrong with like like adding a little less load to your life. Like maybe you're so slammed and for whatever reason right now, like you got kids, you're taking care of your parents, you got a new job, you're working a sec, and like maybe you need to say, I'd love to go to the gym 5 times, I have to go 3. That's what I can realistically do. But even in that time, you can eat healthy. Maybe there's times you can go for walks, you can play extra sports with your kids. Like you just need to be honest and look for more of these creative solutions. So stop using busy as an excuse. Maybe you got to call yourself out a little bit there. I always find I have to call myself out as well, but that was on my mind and my thought.
Yeah. And I think even with that, like to me, if you're like, hey, you know what, I'm busy, and then you have like another thing following that, I'm cool with it, right? Even if, let's say, a friend wants to hang out, and there are times where someone will message me and I'm just like, dude, like this week, like if you look at because I use Google Calendar, I'm like, I can't make it work, and then you like propose something different, right? So, and that's like not just for friendships, but also the gym, right? It's like, hey, Josh, let's say he messages me Saturday morning, we usually work out 9 a.m. and he says, hey, you going tomorrow? I'm like, I got something else going on, but like, and I could propose a different option, right? So I think a lot of times people will just straight up just be like, nope, too busy, and then like just leave it at that. But it's like when you open your mind to like another possibility, and even like working off of staying fit as a parent last week that I was talking about, like I think that's like really the name of the game. It's like you have an injury come up, okay, here's the situation, but like let's find a way to make it work. And it's like, obviously you'll always make time for what you prioritize. And it just, to me, this is one of my biggest pet peeves, especially because like I see so much potential in people, right? Like when I see someone and they're in front of me and I'm like, man, like you can do this, like you have what it takes, and they're just like not fulfilling that. And they're just like, oh, work, and then this, and then travel. And I'm like, okay, I get it, but like we can make it work. And what's so cool about what we've done is we've had thousands of people, and even the interview I did with our client Caleb, and then there's Taylor, and there's other people who are just like, hey, I'm traveling, but here's how I'm going to make it work. I'm going to go to a condo gym. I'm going to get this weekly membership. Like you're always looking for solutions, and that's what separates the people who succeed and don't succeed. So on that note, my quote is so fitting for this as well. It's a lot of people wait for the perfect condition to start, but don't realize starting is the perfect condition. And it kind of reminds me how we always say, motivation will take place just from taking action, right? It's like going to the gym, you may not feel comfortable signing up for that membership or taking that leap or hiring a coach, but I promise you, like that is the catalyst to seeing change, right? And a lot of times it's so easy to wait for that perfect time. So yeah, just don't be that person. Don't say, I'm going to wait until this certain date. And what's even crazy to me is that as I reflected, we're actually 90 days out from 2026, right? So that's 3 months. You can do such great things if you were to just take action now. Like that's the way we run our program. It's in a 90-day interval. We've helped people lose 30 pounds in 90 days. We've helped people lose 15, 20, 25, gain some incredible muscle, improve their entire physique. Like there's a lot of great things that can be done. And especially during this time, like as we reflect, like Thanksgiving's coming up, different holidays, of course, a lot of people will just write it off and just say, you know what, maybe next year, 2026, when I do my goal setting, I'm going to start now. Don't be that person. Take action, sign up for that membership, hold yourself accountable, hire us. I promise you, you can do such great things, but you just cannot be that person who says, oh, the holidays are coming up. Oh, I've got a November trip planned. Like I hear it so often. So yeah, just take action and you'll thank yourself later.
Yeah, it was a great quote, and it's amazing what you can do in 90 days. That's why we started as an accelerator, because it's like a bite-sized way to make massive progress to your goal. Often, if you have a major, massive goal, it takes more time than that, and there's an opportunity, obviously, to continue working and continue growing with us. But in those 90 days, the amount of change you can see, the reworking of your beliefs and your mindset is so, so powerful, and it's something we highly, highly recommend. And then I guess as we get into the what makes us happy, we've hit or missed it a few times. Last week, I was dying to talk. It was a little painful to talk, but I think what's made me so happy is this challenge. So we're filming this on a Wednesday. By the time this comes out, our challenge will have been completed. It was a 4-week fall back into fitness challenge. And if you heard me talk about it, those of you that stepped up and joined, I'm so proud of. Like the transformations from this challenge have been crazy because we really built it around that position sustainability. And we did these weekly challenges. Like we just finished a no sweets challenge. I'm not someone who has a ton of sweets, but there were definitely situations where maybe maybe I would have had something. It was cool just to take a step back from and analyze that. And that's what I loved about this challenge. So we had that, we had no alcohol, we had hitting our macros and calories, we had 10K steps. And I usually get 10K, but there's the days where it's like, oh, it's a little hard. I had to go on an extra walk. It got me always thinking going on walks. And what's cool is, even for me, I started going on those extra walks at night, and my son is 3 now. So now he would come with me and he'd like it and he'd get excited and he's excited to trick or treat eventually. So he brought his little Halloween bucket and he'd come and he'd walk with me and he'd pretty much run the whole way. So we got in a really good habit of going on like a nightly walk, and that's been fun, having little discussions with him. So I'm really just happy for that too. And I even was telling today the person at the food place we go to, I was like, I've been eating really clean. And she's like, you always eat clean. And I'm like, I've been eating even cleaner and I've been feeling even better. And with the challenge, at the time of filming, I'm like 5 pounds down for this challenge. So I feel lean, mean. I've been training really hard. And I just think like having those little intensive short bursts of challenge, I guess, if you could call it. It's really fun. It's really refreshing because it makes you realize what you're capable of. And I think just the same as you can get in bad streaks where you're overeating, sleeping in, skipping workouts. Once you start to go the opposite way and you like lock in even more, you're like, wow, this is good. Like I'm craving more healthy food. I'm craving more training. I feel like I have more energy than I've ever had before. So it's awesome too that not just myself is feeling the sentiment, but our clients, the amazing transformations that come from that. So we should have those up in the coming days as well, which will be pretty exciting. So that'll be something to look forward to, but it's just something I've appreciated. And we will be doing a New Year's challenge, so we'd love to have you join us for that. But don't wait till New Year's. I think one of the easiest ways to fail a challenge and not have it actually do anything is to wait. And that's why I used to be against them, because you'd be like, oh, on this day I'm gonna do everything perfect, and then the day before everyone's like, let's do one last blowout, and they go and have a huge meal, and then they're like, I'm not gonna work out this week because next week I'm gonna work out. And you see it all the time, and it's just like a crazy mindset, because this idea that you're gonna like flip a switch is kind of ridiculous. And I understand in your head how that can feel good and you think you will. It's not a realistic thing. So that's why we only offer the challenge to our actual coaching clientele, because you're already committed to yourself. You're already doing these tenets. We're making it work with you. We're just adding a little intensity for a little 4-week burst, which isn't actually a ton of time. But I think it's super awesome. Now as I transition out of it too, like, it's got me hungry and setting more goals, which has been great.
Man, this challenge is like, it's been one of the best. I feel so incredible from it. And even like the criteria we have, it's just like, how can you not feel great, right? Like I think sometimes when people do challenges and they feel like Josh said, they have to go off the deep end afterwards, and it's just like, I feel so good from it. Like even small things like weighing in 7 times a week has been incredible. My average is even more accurate. It's keeping me accountable. Even like hitting my calories and macros every single day, like instead of like the kind of one-off days or whatever the case would be in the past. Like I'd say before I was like, let's say 88%. Now I'm like 99.9%. Like that difference is like 11%. I know the numbers aren't exactly perfect there, but I'm like, I feel so much better. Lost weight, just like every habit is just so much better. Like even the steps, right? Like Josh said, there'll be times where I'd leave it at like 7,500, 8,000, but that extra walk is a whole different story. So it's been so incredible. I'm excited to keep it up. And like Josh said, even just our clients, like every time we go in the Facebook community, we've done like weekly live calls. Everyone's been so fired up from that. When we do our Monday meetings with the coaches and they share all the wins and everyone's just on fire, like it's just been so incredible. So yeah, very, very happy with that. And even like the different things like no alcohol, to me, I'm like, just, it's like an easy no. It's just like, I don't need it. I don't want it. And it's just like every area of your life can improve from these things, right? It's not about these drastic, like massive, like we're not telling you to go out and run half marathons every day or go like to the gym for 4 hours a day. It's like these basic things we should already be doing, and we just aim to do it better. It can really transform you and make you feel incredible. So yeah, it's been a great challenge so far.
Awesome. And who do we have for our client shout out this week?
This week we have Ryan, who's just about at that 100-pound loss mark. We've shared his journey along the way over the last, I'd say, just about a year with us, which has been incredible. He's lost an amazing amount of weight, as you can tell, obviously close to 100 pounds. He's kept a bunch of muscle as well. He's hitting new PRs. He's feeling better every day. He's got a young one, which is amazing. Like even just the transition of being that like bigger, overweight guy who is just struggling with with like energy and confidence and everything like that. And now the person he is, and we'll showcase some different photos of him even wearing a dress shirt. He was at a wedding recently, and it was just like, it's so incredible to see. Like everyone's coming up to him, asking him what he's been doing, how he did it. We're going to get a few people on board, which is awesome. Some of his friends are going to be joining with us as well, which is super exciting. Like his, community is going to be jumping on board because they've seen the incredible results. But it's just amazing at like the changes day to day, at how you can transform from like showing up and taking that first step. Like that first step when Josh messaged him at the very beginning and he said, man, I'm not feeling great, I'm struggling, like what does your program offer? And him to respond like that and just actually take action, man, so much respect. Because now, like, once again, I always say you're one decision away from a completely different life. From him just saying, you know what, let's do this, 100 pounds down, and he's keeping it off. So incredible. And yeah, we're really proud of this transformation, and it's just going to keep getting better.
Yeah, I actually remember, like, because he lives local, I met up with him at the start and I said to him, I'm like, if you commit, like, we will change your life. And I always had that belief. Like, it's very black and white to me. And that's why, like, even with this glute transformation, I can speak that way. And I think sometimes, like, whether it's people's ego or fear, they'll say, I want to do it myself, or they won't actually commit, or they won't sign up, or they'll use one day signing up as like an excuse as to why they're not taking action now. But anyone who signs up with us, like, this can very well be you as well. And it was awesome too. Actually, I was DMing with him last week and he was like, you guys changed my life. I tell everyone I meet about you guys. Like, this has just been amazing. And he's been working with Coach Jason, which is phenomenal as well. But like, this could be you as well. Like, it just takes that first step. And once again, I think that's probably one of my biggest frustrations, right? Is trying to convey the value I can actually deliver. And even just understanding that everyone does deserve a coach. Like, and it just takes away so much pain. And like, when you see results, you get addicted. And there's just something so nice about moving in the right direction, like moving with the stream towards your fitness, your health, and having less resistance, where everyone's trying to go upstream and they're like losing this battle where it's just absolutely impossible. So once again, we're here to alleviate a lot of that strain. Even if you're just looking for change in general, message us Glute Gains so we know you came from this episode to our Instagram. We will take care of the hard work and we look forward to helping you out. So once again, message us to our Instagram at COLOSSUSFIT. But we'll go back into the mailbag for the second question, which is, how can you keep training and making progress while dealing with an injury?
Yeah, injuries will come. It's going to happen. And yeah, obviously in different ways, shapes, and forms. But I will say, like, one of my first and most obvious answers is just to get that support and help. I know it sounds very obvious, but the amount of people that will talk to me and they'll just say, dude, my shoulder's been killing me for this amount of time. And my first question is like, okay, if it's been that long, like, have you seen an expert? Have you gone to a physio? Have you like actually got it checked out? And they're like, oh yeah, like I was thinking about it, and they just don't take that first step. Like, it's kind of hard because like they will be able to help you out, right? They'll be able to give you that support. They'll be able to give you different suggestions. So I know, once again, it sounds obvious, but like, I'm telling you, more than 50% of people will just say, no, I haven't. Now, next up, of course, is going to be, what can we do, right? The first question after, you get checked out is just like, how can I work around this? And every single person who succeeds, they will always find a way to work around it, right? If it's an upper body thing, let's just say shoulder, for example, shoulder's been acting up, we will absolutely be able to find a way around that. Myself, I've had some shoulder stuff. I've trained legs 3 to 4 times a week, like back when it was like pretty bad. Just there's always a thing that we can do. And even like one of my biggest tips is during these times, you can 100% dial in on the things that you've been neglecting, right? It could be mobility, it could be, self-growth, it could be the nutrition that you haven't been cooking or anything like that. Like, if someone has an injury that comes up, whether it's like big or small, like when you ask yourself, how do I stay on track and how do I make it work? You will be looking for solutions and you will 100% find a way. But a lot of times when it comes to these setbacks, like people who have bbeen looking for a way out, they will absolutely take the easy road and they'll say, you know what, this wasn't meant for me. Like, I can't squat anymore. My hips hurt or my knees hurt. I can't even go to the gym anymore. It's bothering me too much. So it's not fun to hear, but I've seen it a lot. And that's where even our clients who have come in from past injuries, or they maybe have little setbacks here and there, like, we find a way, and it obviously helps having that support. Like Taylor, as an example, you heard recently, she had her hip thing that was going on for a while. Having that support from Coach Armando made such a big difference, being able to find ways around it, different exercises. Obviously that support is incredible. And then the last thing will just be like, ask yourself, how can I prevent this from moving forward, right? Like if your shoulder, you ego lifted, which is what happened to me like 10 years ago or whatever it was. All right, I got to take a step back. I got to, focus on not doing that. You could be adding in more mobility. That could be another thing. Different things that you need to ask yourself within that question is just super important to make sure that like it doesn't happen again. Even form, right? If your form was just atrocious, like, all right, let's hire a coach. Let's watch Colossus Fitness form videos. Let's, ask a trainer some different questions for that. This would be my main answer for this question. And hopefully that helps you in one way or another.
Yeah, my biggest piece of advice is to not be a victim and be an action taker. I think every time I've gotten hurt, like you want to kind of sulk and suck. Like it's just not fun, right? You're just like, this is so dumb. I'm going to lose so much progress. But like, you have to play with the cards you got, right? If you get hurt, like you break your leg tomorrow, you're going to either you could lose a ton of progress or you could minimize the damage, right? Like I've never broken a leg, but for example, during that time, I imagine there'd be some time where you'd probably be pretty bedridden until you get your cast and all that. And then you might be going to the gym looking a little silly with crutches and a big cast, and maybe you're just training upper body and you have to find creative solutions. And then maybe you have to make the debate too of still training the one leg while not training the other. But that's where you'd want to read up and study and put yourself in the best position. Whenever I'm hurt or injured too, one thing you can always control is food. And like I said, when you want to like be upset about it at first, that's where it's tempting. Like you want to make yourself feel better and just start eating garbage or overeating or whatever it is. But ultimately you need to have that like delayed gratification of knowing like that's just going to make you feel worse. That's going to really exacerbate the problem. Like it's going to put you in a more negative situation. So I've really tried to have this framework all the way since when I had my hernia surgery. So not like a back issue, like a hernia. It's like more like just above the groin. It's basically like a little wall where like there can be a little gap, and that's what can kind of cause a hernia, if you will, that it'll protrude through the gap. So you have to get it re-sewed up essentially. And it's annoying because they're cutting through your abdomen wall, which is not ideal. But I got through it. Now I don't even think about it. Like 7 months ago, 8 months ago, whatever it was, I dislocated the shoulder. Sucks. Wasn't fun. Like obviously I'm seeing maybe a tiny ripple from that, but it is what it is, something I want to work with. And a lot of people said, oh, you're gonna have bum shoulder, your shoulder will never be the same, enjoy not benching again. But I have none of those problems now, but I did a lot of work, a lot of rehab. I ate really well. I strengthened it. I tried to really think long term. And I think ultimately that's all you can really do. And I like Kyle's point too about preventing issues, like obviously identifying if it's going to be a recurring injury, investing in better things, like whether it be like better knee sleeves, if you got bad knees, taking more time to actually train them, like evaluating weak spots, changing regimens if need be. Like there is still quite a lot you can do, but that requires you to take action, not be a victim. It's not fun. It's hard, but I assure you it makes all the difference. So that was a phenomenal question. And we'll get into our third and final question of the day, which is, what is your biggest fitness accomplishment that you're proud of?
I'm going to have to say it's these transformations. I mean, honestly, for us, even looking back like 10 plus years ago, if you were to say, hey, we would have been able to transform this many people, like kind of zooming into like where we're at now, I'd be like, no way, like that's just crazy. But I just think like we've had every single situation, like anybody you could have ever imagined. We've had people just with every different obstacle that we've worked through. And it's been amazing because obviously I'm proud of the things that I've done between some powerlifting things. We did a physique show. I've done some marathon type stuff, and obviously very proud of that. That took a lot of work, but even to build up like the first program that Josh ever created, and like the systems that we've created, and like the amount of work that goes into making sure that each person is heard and understood, and our weekly check-ins that we have, and the systems that we've built, and like our level of care. It's been a lot of work, right? Like over 10 years of like making sure our spreadsheets are on point, the resources that we've created. And so every person now that comes into this program is just honestly amazing. Like it's obviously it is a personal fitness accomplishment, right? It's not a PR on my end, but just in terms of like the people that have come in here, it's just honestly, it's phenomenal. And like Josh said, like it is sometimes frustrating when you see someone in front of you, you just want to shake them and be like, this will be for you. Like if you actually show up, if you invest in yourself, you could be 100 pounds down, you could be 20 pounds down, you could have so much energy and so much strength. But yeah, I'm gonna have to say that on top of like the other different fitness things that I've done would 100% be up there for number one for sure.
Yeah, I have to agree. That's where my mind went immediately as well. Like, obviously, we've done some really cool things, hit some really crazy PRs and stuff, and I'm super proud of those. Don't get me wrong, but I do just like seeing other people change. I've always liked helping people with their fitness, and I think especially the people that like maybe didn't have a ton of confidence or were severely overweight, like just seeing that change and seeing like no matter what, if you have 100, 200 pounds to lose, if you are skinny fat, if you're incredibly like everyone can really develop a level of fitness and health they like, and it's awesome to see people do that while fitting it in their life. So I think like the coaching has been the most impactful for that, because I can really dig in. I'm really proud of this podcast as well. I know this has helped a ton of people, and we've received really powerful messages and responses, and YouTube as well. And like as cool as personal accomplishments are, like squatting 585 is a huge one. It's awesome. It's like it's not as life changing, right? I like that butterfly effect, or that ripple of you help someone, they help someone else, they have a better life, may they live, like it is awesome to be able to see all of that. So I think like truly that transcends a lot of the other like more vanity based stuff, I suppose, like competing in physique. And I think one of the cool things in that sense is we've always tried different things. Like we started podcasts, YouTube, we've done powerlifting, we've done physique, we've done all these different things. So I think that's been really fun, is like trying different areas of this and exploring different components of fitness and health. But I definitely really agree with Kyle's answer. I tried really hard to think of like a less self-righteous answer, if you will, but I really do just land there. And I truly believe in that. Even like good examples are like, we've had people come that are like 60 or 70, right? And they start to feel a little frail, a little weak, no confidence to go to the gym, no understanding of protein, nutrition. And they buy in, they take that massive leap. And like knowing someone like trusts us with their transformation is amazing. And I think it upsets me the most seeing other people like hire bad trainers, quick fixes, because like it makes you feel bitter towards fitness and health, or feel like you're the problem when you're absolutely not. Oftentimes it's just like your direction of effort or energy, or not giving yourself the patience to learn how to succeed. So we work really hard to win in all those different capacities and different ways. But we hope you enjoyed this episode. Like we said, we'd love to work with you one-on-one, and so you can see what it's all about and get the results you deserve. So message us Glute Gains to our Instagram at COLOSSUSFIT to make that happen. Also, if you like this episode and you feel you learned something, or you have a friend or someone you know who wants to grow their glutes, if you could share this to your Instagram story so more people could hear it, you're going to help with that ripple effect as well, so more people can see better results, avoid the nonsense, and become fitter, healthier, and happier. So if you share it to your story, tag our Instagram at COLOSSUSFIT. We'd love to reshare it and connect with you, because that really makes our life, especially when we're trying to put out great, amazing, free, ad-free content. So that's what we're all about. If you can help us out with that small action, that would mean a lot. But thank you so much for tuning in. Peace out.